I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I think I kind of almost did one day, but
Well, it's really hard to tell when you're that close.
well,
Bernie.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? We're here for another episode of Breaking Glass. It's a podcast for glass blowers by glass blowers. And this week, we got myself, Kevin Beecher.
Josh Mazet.
And we got our good buddy and business partner, Sean Gold here. So, we're going to talk about a little bit of stuff. We got a lot of stuff. We went out to dinner tonight, had a good meal, had some drinks, got a little loose. And, now we're going to talk to him about his shop here in Steelton.
That's the Coexist Gallery, where he's one of him and Paul Catherman are the owners of the Coexist Gallery here. And, again, partners in Melt, East Coast Melt with us.
Yeah. So, how you doing?
Doing well.
All right.
Nice to have you on the show, Sean.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's been a long time. We had Paul on one of the first episodes. He was one of our first.
Pretty much second episode, I feel like. Paul was like, right at the very beginning.
He got a little nuts, talked about holes in his penis and all that kind of stuff.
Can you elaborate on any of that?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I think I kind of almost did one day, but
Well, it's really hard to tell when you're that close.
well, it's always about him turning. I was always cracking me up. We always talked about turning sideways when he peed, and he had like pointed down and away from his face. So, he ever tell you those stories?
No, I never heard it. He kind of keeps that stuff a little hidden from me.
Well, whatever.
Well, he was pretty frank about it the day on the podcast.
Yeah. We talked
very
a lot
entertaining.
about dildos. I mean, that was like literally like a half an hour episode about dildos.
And the penis inserts.
Yeah,
that's a crazy shit.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, so we're gonna talk about your shop. Anything coming up new? Anything exciting?
We got a lot of stuff going on. We have yoga things going on every Sunday. We've got these hemp happy hours coming up starting in January 9th, and then every other Thursday.
What's a hemp happy hour?
Yeah.
Hemp happy hours are going to run from 6 till 8, and we're going to be doing all kinds of cool stuff. We're going to be having all kinds of different product demos. We're going to be teaching a lot of classes on making edibles, doing rosin, pressing rosin, all different types of extraction techniques, and it's going to be mostly cannabis related and just a lot of cutting edge stuff, but we're also going to be doing veteran support groups within this hemp happy hour to get the veterans involved, and we're also going to be doing cancer and family survivor groups to try to promote community.
You do
stuff.
them right here in the shop?
We do it all right here in the shop.
You do the yoga in here too?
Yeah,
just right here on the floor.
Yep. Yeah, we get. We've been getting anywhere from 8 to 12 people. We've been doing it for a little while. We're starting to get a big following now, and we bring in some really interesting
teachers.
I want to come and do like a photo sesh where just a bunch of people on this floor doing yoga and getting all the pipes and everything in the background. And I think that'd be.
You turn the heat up, make it hot yoga.
They do that. They do some other ones too, where they have these. They have these different. Like smokes, like sage and different stuff that they come in and burn.
Bless the room and stuff.
Yeah, to clean the air, clean the energy.
Do you get down on that? You doing some yoga?
I haven't did any of it yet.
I'd like to see. I'd actually come just to watch you do the yoga because I think it'd be funny to see you doing it.
Yeah, I went and bought a new Speedo for it, but I haven't busted it out yet.
I don't want to take a chance that I won't get this question in later. But because I know we'll be talking about some of the things about like legality of weed and everything going on and part of what's going on in Pennsylvania. But how do you teach a class to people about doing extracts and edibles in a state where it's illegal to grow weed? I mean, it just seems there's a catch-22 there where it's like it seems like that's just like. I'm just surprised. I mean, I'm not down on it, but it sounds a little weird.
And that's a beautiful question. And, the great answer for it is, hemp is 100% legal, and you can extract the same type of cannabinoids. Absolutely. Well, you can grow it.
But don't you grow it at the risk that if they test it and has even the slightest trace of THC, you're going to be, I mean, how easy is it to grow hemp with zero THC, like 0.00? Yeah.
I think they get these strains and they're coming in, well below the 0.3% now. And
we've talked about this in the last episode with Junkie. I mean, I was interested in doing it, growing hemp. I think it'd be a great.
They've genetically, and when I say genetically engineered it, you know what I mean? A lot of it's, just crossbreeding, backing it out to where it's.
Genetically engineering has like a bad connotation to it, but there is also just by, how you grow up. Yeah, your process is, it's not necessarily a bad
the pollination thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's not where you're taking in a lab and break it down.
Right.
But continuing back to some of the other stuff we got going on. May 30th, we have the Cannabis Steelton Cannabis Health Expo going on again, and that's really turned into a great event.
Nice.
We're all about education and community. So
you're always doing stuff in the community. You're always putting on events. I mean, in the past, we've come to a lot of your events. I mean, you did that Fire Ice show. You do like the Cannabis Festival downtown.
Oh, yeah.
You did a lot of cool stuff around here with this place. Steelton's like one of those towns where there wasn't a lot of stuff going on like that until you guys got here.
Right. And, we're changing the whole dynamic of the community, and that's our main focus is, we realize that it's not about us. In order to, grow as a business, we have to develop the community and develop the following, and we realize that, with that, you got to get the people to have a sense of ownership and a sense of pride in the community. So we're doing a lot of stuff to reinstill that sense. We've just had mural paintings. The children from the high school come down, and we painted murals on buildings in the community here, and just trying to give them something to feel like they have some ownership, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pride. So,
nice.
And then in July we're moving forward. We're having what's called the Mardi Gras in July. We're going to be having some second line bands come in and run. We'll be going parading all through the streets with our horns and getting a little hooting and hollering, and coming back here having a big sound stage set up, and we're going to have New Orleans style bands all day and New Orleans style food, and just a good sweet time. Bunch of glass blowing and.
Yeah, we come to all those events. We're all about it.
Oh, I know you'll be there. That's for sure.
Do you have any artist shows planned coming up?
We're
even
working
over the next year. I mean, you're usually looking ahead.
Yeah, we are. We're working together with Karsten Carlisle right now. We're working on a skull show. We haven't set the definitive date yet, but
a skull show.
Skull show. Yeah, we're gonna have. We haven't decided where we're capping the amount of artists because there's so many great skull makers throughout the industry, and we don't want to leave anybody out, but we've got to limit it at some point, but we want to include as many people.
I got a skull with me. I'll show you today.
Nice. I can't wait to see it.
I got my skull marble.
Yeah, tell you what's up.
Well, sweet.
Our invitation's in the mail. We can count on that.
Yeah.
So
You get them hand delivered.
Well, we'll move forward because we're going to come back and talk about a lot of these things. So we're going to jump into. We'll give a little shout out to our mailbag and all of our. What the hell is that?
Okay. Wow. Based on that wedding ring and that ponytail, I have a pretty good idea who that is.
Yeah. What the hell?
Just bad, but I don't know other features. I'm just saying that.
So yeah. We'll just keep moving on from this. So we have some mailbag questions this week. They don't know what we're laughing about.
There's a slight stain there. You saw the stain, right?
Oh Jesus! There's a stain.
The stain's the part that's like, is it blood? That's what I want to know. He put it there.
He put it there. Yeah. Hey, I got ones with him where we branded his ass, so I'll pull those out. So give us a shout out. We got some questions this week from our mailbag. And
we got So thank you to give a shout out to the mailbag.
Well, whenever, like I said, if you have questions you want us to answer them, get our mailbag. It's our mailbag at breakingglass.show. We got our website breakingglass.show, Instagram breaking_glass_podcast, and Facebook breakingglass.show.
Yep. Yeah, so actually, a big thank you right away, because we did get some questions in the mailbag this week, and so we're going to try to hit those up right now and give a shout out to you guys. The first one that we have is from Brandon Dorn, and one of the winners from this year's Flipboard Olympics at Melt.
Yeah, didn't he win a torch?
Oh yeah, he won first place in the singles division, and I really hats off to him.
Or was it a $1,000 gift certificate, right?
Well, it was a gift certificate equal to buying a Carlisle CC, and there was a couple prizes. I don't want to be responsible for naming.
Well, Brandon's I think he's been to a couple melts now, so like I said, he's definitely one of our followers.
So I'm just gonna read Brandon's letter. This is actually the first I've seen it. So, yo, got some questions for you guys in the show. Any new ideas for Melt? And then I'm just going to kind of read through this and we'll kind of follow up so it just has the flow. What's the Melt yearbook going to be like, and any plans on when it comes out? When is Josh giving away a Pipetown DVD for giveaway? I think that's a very fair question. That will be happening. Have you gone over all the different trade shows? So we'll follow up that. Man, you got a lot of questions here, Brandon. Good for you. And how and who are certain shows good for such a proto artist versus high-end artist? Another great question there. Should we stop?
Yeah, he's got way too many questions.
Yeah, that's again, I tried to address this at the beginning of the show.
Maybe we can save some of those for the next show.
Exactly what I was talking about. Oh, really?
Yeah, no questions, and all of a sudden, boom, 100 questions.
Yeah, that's...
right off the bat, we are working on the Melt yearbook. We just started talking about that yesterday. Yeah. We got all the photos. We're starting to go through them.
Shout out to Andrew
We'll hopefully
Grammer.
try to put something that together. I don't know if we'll have it in time for Glass Vegas.
We wanted it for Glass Vegas. I don't know if we'll be ready for
maybe by Salem, possibly.
Yeah, by Salem. Yeah, by the second early in the year for sure. We want to get those out for you guys, and you can look forward to a Pipetown DVD giveaway in January. So probably second or third week of January, I'll be giving away one of those DVDs. And so have we gone over the trade shows? We have tried to hit on most of the trade shows, I think. And if I were gonna quickly throw out, the how and who are certain shows good for a proto artist versus a high end artist, I'm gonna take a shot and say a show like Glass Vegas or Glass Roots is going to be... Well, actually, I'll say Glass Vegas is probably best for your high-end artist because it's in the city of Las Vegas. It's a destination point. You're going to get people from all over the country that head to it. But if you're a proto artist, probably there's some validity for going to something like Champs because you're going to probably have more exposure there. Champs has a longer history. They have a huge show. It's a one-stop destination for any head shop owner.
And there are definitely people buying a ton of production.
And there are people there to buy product that were they're going to put in numbers in order. And actually, this might be a good question for you. Sean, what do you think about that question?
You are a shop owner.
If you're going,
Well, being going to that, like the Champs shows are definitely the shows that we try to buy a bulk of our production work for sure. So Glass Vegas is an exceptional show, but they cater more to the higher end. You know what I mean?
There's not a lot of cheap production there. There's some people that have some stuff. But
there's some stuff. You can get stuff at both shows, but if you're going and wanting to get some clientele that are going to buy some heavy volume of product, Champs is going to probably be your show that there's a lot of store owners that go just for that.
Yeah. And I'm just going to kind of extract something from Sean's answer there and put it this way for the glassblower, that when shops go to Champs, they have a budget for their production. That's almost what they're expecting to buy. But when they're going to go to something like Las Vegas, it's more of a destination show where I'm going to be going to this show and buying some of this high quality work. So you might be a production shop that gets into Glass Vegas and does well because you're there at the right time and you have good work. But it also might be the time when a shop is actually budgeting to be buying from individual artists. So keep that in mind. That might be something on the decision factor. So what?
I went ahead and read the rest of his question. Did you read the very end of it?
I haven't.
We can't even answer that.
Oh my God, we're not getting in on that. I like that question though. That is a good one. Actually, since Sean's on the show, I don't know. I love that question. We haven't even got there yet. All right. So thanks for these questions.
We just answered
Brandon.
A lot of the rest of that.
Brandon, it's BTW. If you want to space these out over the next 3 weeks next time, we would just appreciate that too, because we could get into these even more. So Brandon's saying that the only show I've been to is Champs in Atlantic City. I'm on the East Coast and haven't made it to these other shows yet, but would like to hear your opinion on what you think sells best at certain shows.
That's kind of where we were at there.
I think that we did kind of cover that, but maybe what to touch on. Let me just think for just a second, hopefully it'll happen fast, but if I was an East Coast artist and I had to, again, you have a limited amount of budget for what you can do and what type of shows you can attend, I would think that doing something like Atlantic City champs is still keep that in your resume.
Yeah, that's a good show.
Then do something like Las Vegas, so it gives you exposure.
The FAM show would be good.
The FAM show might be
That's an upcoming one.
I apologize. I should have mentioned.
Well, this
too.
is something he could answer too, because like we said about what products. So, and that was one of the questions I kind of had for him later was like, what kind of products are selling in the stores, so what kind of glass.
What's your tip to like something that glass blowers might be considered making?
What's something he should shoot for to take to these trade shows?
Yeah.
I mean, the cheap rigs and, of course, always your spoons and your, simple proto. But a lot of people are making that stuff. So, like a lot of times, like simple tubes and simple rigs that,
Something that's easy to sell. And
something's easy to sell, stuff that can be resold at, under $100 or, slightly around $100.
I always hear that. I hear that a lot. If you can keep it under $100, it's like you have a problem.
So a production rig that's under $100.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say that, but it's just...
No, don't hate to say it.
I mean, it just seems like...
That's the real news.
You guys have some of mine here.
People have to be real, and like it's like we have a... Yeah, that's the reality of the deal. So I bet they need to hear it.
Yeah, you got certain people come in and they want to spend that money on a headier piece, but I'm saying the majority of the people, especially with all the new, and even here in Pennsylvania, you got a lot of new people that are just new, they're people that haven't smoked before, and then they get in this medical marijuana system, and then they come in looking for equipment to use their medical cannabis. But they have no experience, so they aren't knowledgeable about the glass. So they want something just entry level, really cheap that they can get to start, experimenting and exploring with it, and then
and then maybe down the line it's just how everybody enters this system. A lot of people are legitimately entering this as medicine, and for them, they need a delivery system that is just a practical device.
Yep.
And so there is a place for glass blowers out there that can make a well-made glass piece that just delivers the intended product.
Yeah.
And you can't deny that, And then when you are going to go to a show like Glass Vegas or Glass Roots, where
that's where you're busting out all your
artist people, then you better show up with that. I mean, there's always going to be a place where if you show up with a good sellable product, you're going to do well at any show. That's something that's guaranteed. But when you show up with a high-end product at any show, you may not have a great results from that. So,
right.
But yeah, those were great, Brandon. Thank you. And we're gonna follow up with that other question, down the road. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. What's your next one?
We got this guy. Here we got one from Matt Galanti out in Portland, our staff member from Melt, and his first question right off the top: what is your favorite color to use? Right up, yeah, go.
Shit, I don't know. Black.
Black, yeah.
I like black and white. That's always been my favorite.
But I'm just gonna ask everybody's follow-up question: which black?
I don't know. I like that Eclipse black.
Mm-hmm.
I like jet black. I haven't tried that new spark. Okay. I got a bunch of that black sparkle stuff.
Just a note to the people in the room: no discerning taste. No discerning taste. See, that's what I was saying. You just like all the blacks,
but
they're
certain ones are better.
Really particular. But that's fine.
Well, Eclipse. For marbles, I like Eclipse.
Yeah. So,
actually, I'll tell you what. I do know one. My favorite black was the tubing that Taffy Tubes made.
Oh yeah.
That black tubing
Taffy
he
does
made
a great
was
black
amazing.
Tubing,
And he doesn't make it, and it's all it is watered down jet black. I think. I think that's what he told me. But it's so smooth and creamy, and there again, he's never making it. If he ever hears this shit, I wish he would. I told him every time I see him, he's like, "Oh, I think I have some. I'll bust it out for you." And I'll never see him. And so I would buy a couple pounds of that tomorrow if he had it for sale.
You got a favorite color, Sean? I know you're just kind of starting glass blowing and stuff, but is there when you see something made from a certain color that you just I love that color?
Yeah, I always like the CFLs, but I mean, I'm pretty neutral.
You got a couple 5-gallon buckets full of slime.
Yeah, I got a lot of
bust that shit out
color.
At some point,
I got a lot of color.
We need to go through that.
A lot of equipment.
I'd like to see some of that stuff for sure.
I got so much equipment and products.
Well, and for me, that is such a hard question. I just start to qualify what all these different types of color, and I think if I only had one color that I had to use, and I had to just pull it, it would be experimental green from North Star, because there's such a range. And I love all those colors that are super concentrated, because the thing that's cool about those colors is that they have one quality in their just total density, but then when they're pulled down, they can have all this range of color, and that's kind of like some colors.
Cool.
But experimental green is especially cool. If I could just have one color for the rest of my life that I had to use with clear, I'd probably take experimental green.
I always like to take that and like stripe it over like white or something.
Yeah, over
and then
white.
Use that for your marbles or whatever.
Totally.
It just looks so awesome.
Great color. So, and then you got a couple follow-up questions about color, and I'm just going to read through them real quick. It's, how do you feel about Glass Alchemy? And it says, have you gotten to try any of the new batch? This is kind of a hard question. I saw this earlier. Have you gotten to try any of the new batch of old colors they released, like Lemon Drop or Acid Yellow? So I think I'm just reading that. I think you're saying that they have new, basically reformulated versions of those colors. And what I just keep seeing out of Glass Alchemy probably is that most of their reformulations are just adding more clear.
That's what it was, right?
Yeah, so I think Acid Yellow was one of the most friendly cadmium colors there was years ago. It was the one that I could use with the least amount of boiling, and so I could do a lot with Acid Yellow. It was always way easier to use than orange or reds, and so I haven't used the new one. I could only imagine that it's easier to use now.
They just added so much clear to it.
Yeah, because they probably added clear to it, but the original one had a great density, and it was just a really good color. And I know a handful of artists, and the next question is, I know a few artists or a handful of artists out there who refuse to use GA color, and just wondering on your thoughts since Thomas took over the company. You know, Thomas is an amazing chemist, and again, I don't mean to be stepping on anybody answering these questions. Thomas is an amazing chemist, but of course his father, Henry, was the heart and soul of that company from its, inception.
From the roots, yeah.
And so I think Thomas has really carried the torch. I think Thomas has done some new things since Henry left. I think he really made a push for transparency.
I think
because he listened to the industry.
Well, I think he was also getting into the fact he's pushing that thing about, some people got pissed because of the way they were selling their colors.
No, okay, yeah.
I think that's kind of where I think he was going with it.
Well, maybe, but I want to give the full, because I agree with you. To the flip side of that, yes, I think Thomas has done great things with the chemistry and the colors with the company, but they have their whole selling process got a little tricky. And of course, I was part of the color. I don't even know what it was. But color club, whatever it was. So I was very, thankful for that. But at the same time, it did make their colors a little bit hard to access, and it felt like there was a velvet rope VIP type of status.
I have a ton of old Glass Alchemy colors. I actually don't buy a lot of them anymore. I was ever since we got with Greasy and stuff. I always end up buying a lot of his colors and those satiny colors and the CFLs. And
there's certain colors that Glass Alchemy does that can't.
They're reds. They're cadmium.
Aqua Azul. You cannot beat Aqua Azul. It's just like one of the most friendly colors that's out there.
Tons of that.
And if you go to the North Star, doesn't have an equivalent. They have color equivalency, but not workability equivalency and stuff. So I think Glass Alchemy does great stuff. So thanks for the questions, Matt.
Yeah.
And then we got our final questions coming in here from our buddy Calvin, the Pickerel, Parking Czar, Alderete. First of all, real quick, he just threw out 4 titles of TV shows, because we had asked for some input on TV shows, or I did last time. Do you want? I'll let Kevin run down the list first. Well, give your reactions.
I don't know the increasingly poor decisions of Todd Margaret.
Okay.
The Good Place, it's all right. Portlandia, I never really got into, and then he has SNL. I think SNL's been pretty good lately. Mm-hmm. It's pretty funny. It's very topical. It's definitely a lot of political stuff, but they've been killing it.
Okay. Increasingly poor decisions of Todd Margaret. Fucking incredible first season. I'm a huge David Cross fan, being that I'm a huge Arrested Development fan. I love it. But that said, I have not seen the third season. I've actually seen the second season. I haven't seen the third season. So I think it's a great show, but it's definitely an off-brand of humor. It's not for everyone. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what Kevin thinks. But I love it. It has a Job or Will Arnett. So you get Will Arnett and David Cross in a show after Arrested Development. It's fucking hilarious.
Sean's probably like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
So The Good Place.
He don't watch TV.
The Good Place is an incredible show. I would recommend it to almost anyone. But the reality is that if you can't find humor in deep, thoughtful philosophy, you're probably never gonna love it. Portlandia, I love Portlandia. I think one of the things unique about it is a skit show that actually usually has some like storyline over it, and being an Oregonian,
it's I figure that's why you like it.
But the reality is, if you like Portlandia, Calvin, you better check out Documentary Now, because that's the show to watch.
Funny.
That I love Portlandia, but Documentary Now.
What about you? Do you like any
next
shows?
level. And then finally SNL, great season this year, probably one of the better seasons actually. And not a cast that I'm like, I love all these cast members. I just think they're putting on good stuff.
Cool.
So anyway, there we go. And so with this, Calvin asks a question about tools. It's going to lead into the next segment of the tool of the week. And this question was, what is your favorite weird tool of all time? Parentheses, unique, possibly single-use, homemade, purchased or bought, and modified, anything weird. And I'll just start it off, and I'm going to hand it over to you if that's all right.
You know, there's so many tools. I mean, how do you pick one unique tool? I wouldn't say that I have one specific unique tool. We talked about tools every week. You know, I always say I like my jacks and all that kind of stuff, but I go to a lot of thrift stores and antique shops. I'm always looking for weird little metal presses and pushes and old knives. I like all my carving knives are all like old steak knives from like the 1950s or something like that. So I look for that kind of stuff. Other than that, anything weird metal that you can push in the glass and make an impression. Yeah. I don't know. Like, you know, there's so many to pick from. How could you pick just one unique tool that's your favorite?
I can.
You got one?
Yes. A butter knife. For me, because it's just like this reliable sculpture tool that I can find anywhere in the world when I show up at somebody's shop and I need to do some carving.
That's not a unique?
I think it's up for me to decide what is unique. And I say it's weird, first of all, because it's just like, it's not something that I'm buying from Blast Shield or Griffin.
But everybody has one. I think everybody uses one.
Well, I don't know, because that's what we're here for, to talk about. But the thing that since I didn't finish what I was saying, is actually, I take my butter knives, my favorite butter knives, I snap off the last half of the butter knife or 3/4 of it, because I like a tool that's shorter, because you get more direct pressure whenever you're working with a tool of length and you're trying to use the end. It's the way you direct pressure onto the tool I don't like. So I like a snub-nosed butter knife.
With the shop, you have all those little cheese knives.
Oh, and so the cheese knives have come out of that preference for short-nosed tools. Like, I have these stainless steel cheese knives that are some of my favorite sculpting tools. I have a little group of 4, and they're all very short, and it allows me just to direct pressure and have a lot of control.
$6 a Big Lot.
Yeah, $6 a Big Lot. You can order a set on Amazon.
He tried to get one through the airport.
Yeah,
I remember we tried to fly out of Harrisburg, and they went through our bags, and they were like, "What the hell is this?" He's like, "I didn't even know who was in there. I swear." Yeah. They were like looking at him like, "You motherfucking terrorist here." He was like trying to kill somebody with a knife. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. So, and also, Calvin says he'll eat a death nut. So,
death nut.
We're gonna put that in the notes, and we'll remember for next time we see you.
I just seen a death nut here previously in the show.
It's the second death nut of the show. Well, hey, thank you everyone for all those mailbag questions. And
keep them coming.
Keep them coming. We're gonna try to address all of them and give you guys shout outs. We'll put Jeremy's gonna put you in the show notes.
Where did you put that picture at? Where'd you even get that from? Where was that from? I got one from you. Like I said, you remember that Brandon, don't you? I got those pictures. You don't want to talk about that. So
here we are. Sean Gold, shop owner, glass enthusiast.
So
co-founder, or actually, I don't like to say co-founder. You're a founder of Melt.
Yeah.
One of the greatest glass blowing events going on in the country.
We'll all blow it up.
Yep.
What?
How's
your shop doing? Hasn't you been how long you been going now?
Yeah. With this store, it's been a year now. So
just one solid year?
One solid year.
Well, yeah, you started out big. We had the big Fire and Ice thing that was pretty much in December, right?
Yeah, around this time, December 16th.
Yeah. Was that the grand opening?
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was basically the opening. Yeah.
Well, shit. That's cheers for us, because like I said, that's the same time for us for we started a podcast right at that time. That was our very first podcast. That same exact weekend, because we had chili out. We tried to do. Remember?
Yep.
So it was the same exact week. So
cheers.
1 year anniversary
for all of us.
So it's going. I mean, how's it going?
Circle
picking up, starting to get business. Is it like one of those things where
it takes a while to get a following, with any of this stuff? And
well, you said you just constantly doing all these different events. What's that?
Still,
nobody will hear us.
Turn the page.
Stilton is such a tough town, and the Harrisburg area. We thought, we could draw a larger crowd, and but just to have people know you're here, it just takes a long time to build a following, and we're just doing that. We're trying to do some over the top stuff to let people know we're here, and trying to do a lot of stuff once again.
What do you think the overall scene for like shops? And do you think everybody's hurting as far as like?
I think that everybody is hurting. I think the economy overall is not doing as well as it's forecasted, and
I mean, it seems like when you see news,
doing...
when you see stuff in the news, everybody's talking about the one good thing going on right now is
the economy,
our economy, and that's not your take on it, though.
I feel it's a false economy.
I do too, and you talk to a lot of the business owners, and I'm around a lot of places, and a lot of people are talking that they're having their slowest sales year ever, and
but the media said it was the biggest Black Friday sales of all time.
Yeah, online, talking with Amazon or these other online sales places, I'm sure.
Well, I always try to tell that to people when they try to argue about, well, there's the economy and this and that. It's like that economy, they're basing it off like the stock market, and all that kind of thing. I was like, the average person doesn't buy stocks. I was like, all those businesses got these tax breaks, and all they did was take their money and reinvest it in their own stock, and that's the economy. That's why it looks so good. But all that is the companies buying all their stock back and making the economy inflated.
I'm sure that the employees are making less than they ever have, and the CEOs are making more than they ever have.
Exactly.
So it's just seems the way of the United States. Seems like the way of the world right now. We're moving towards more of a globalization idea, and everything is.
Are you guys trying to sell stuff online a lot? I mean,
we just developed our new website, coexistgallery.com, and we're going to be pushing more towards online sales. Because we've never had this presence or never worked with this stuff before, it's a big learning curve, and we're excited to learn, but it just takes a lot of mistakes and a lot of.
You guys got
what's the legality of online sales? Is that something you have to be concerned with? I mean, Pennsylvania is like historically famous for the whole pipe dream thing.
I think that's all a thing of the past. It's more.
You're not too worried about shipping. There's no state that you're like,
I would, the thing that I'd be worried about, and which we would never do, is sell kratom, online, or sell CBD online to any other state that, what I mean? Because you could really fall into some really legal issues there. But as far as glass goes, I don't see that being a big issue anymore.
So do you feel like the glass in these shops, like in your shop, do you think you sell more like kratom and fake CBD and CBD stuff than you do of just glass products?
No, I wouldn't say more, but I would say that it's there's a presence for it. With the CBD, it's always amazing to me, and sometimes it's really heart wrenching. Like some of the people that come in to buy this are a lot of elderly people, a lot of people that really have a lot of health issues, and when they come in and tell you their story of how they started taking this stuff, and it literally got them off of 90% of their medicines, and Well,
I like to hear that. I mean, the whole medical thing, I like to hear that. I was talking to my nephew the other day, and he's talking about she got her medical card so she could go into the place because she was having all these different, what they call that restless leg syndrome and all these different things she was having, and she started getting the tincture, I guess, the straight marijuana tincture or whatever, and she said all that stuff stopping. And I was just like, but this was a woman that was on all these different medications, and she stopped taking all these medications. And I think that's a great thing for it. What about the CBD in general? I see you guys have all the products is it just CBD weed? Is that what that is?
Yeah, CBD flower. I mean,
we sell tons of that?
Tons of it. We got a lot of steady clientele.
You sell more of the bud or the cigarettes?
We have some people that just want to come in, they don't want to mess with it, and then we have some people that just want the bud. It's funny, there's a lot of people that actually smoke cannabis that no longer necessarily want to smoke cannabis, and they come in, they start buying that hemp to kind of wean themselves off of it. Not necessarily. I'm not saying wean because it's not addictive.
No, I mean maybe though. But I mean, I just am a weed smoker. So I just will I would call myself I've always jokingly said it's a maintenance weed smoker. I just smoke weed all day. It's not because I want to be high, even it's just it feels like part of my routine. So if I just feel if I had something, I mean you could, and because I'm never even hyper concerned with whatever weed I have. It doesn't have to be the most stony. It's just the process. So I almost think I could smoke CBD weed all day and probably just the routine of it. So. I think weaning themselves off is probably a good way to do it. It's like, oh, you don't need the like mind altering effect, but you want the process of taking in some smoke.
Well, that's
and
what
the
I like
flavor
about-
and-
We've also had people that were trying to get off smoking cigarettes, and so they would come in and buy the hemp flower, and they would roll it up and smoke that. Versus because they knew it was coming from a local Lancaster farm around here, and it's all been lab tested. It's not, you know what I mean, this GMO stuff that they're spraying pesticides or anything like that on.
Is that, or you get your stuff locally then?
Yeah, all the stuff we get comes from down in Lancaster.
Nice.
Yeah, the Amish raise it, and I mean they come in here. It's really it's kind of odd in a certain sense talking to them. When they come in talking business. When they're
The Amish people?
yeah.
That's who you're buying it from?
Well, I don't actually think. I mean, if they were, I don't think they'd have any problem. You just think that they would consider that a just another one of the produce that God provides. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they'd have any criticism against it. Do
I
they?
think no, cannabis is too. It's a plant, and more people need to realize that it's just a plant. And,
Well, what do you think? I mean, so I never actually, I don't know the whole story with you with how Steelton we're in Steelton. They were talking about making marijuana legal in Steelton. Is that happening?
Well, I mean,
Or is it
what
decriminalized?
they're doing is so they put in they decriminalized cannabis in Steelton, and for a small town, it was a huge event. Our chief of police was featured in High Times magazine.
So
great
how's that
guy.
work? So we're right outside of Harrisburg.
it's
That's the capital. So
yeah.
Harrisburg, what's their laws?
I'm not sure. I think they're decrim too. Philadelphia's decrim.
Yeah. What about Pittsburgh? Are they still-
Pittsburgh's decrim. But
No,
they're
that's
still
you're allowed
still-
to have up to what, like 10 grams?
An
or-
ounce.
Is it a whole ounce?
Yeah, it's an ounce, and it's like 30 grams.
No, that's not that it doesn't mean that it's legal. It just means that
You still get a ticket, but
get a
it's
ticket.
more like a parking ticket, and
Okay.
and
they take it from you probably.
They take it from you and whatever.
In Stilton.
Here I've seen, the police are very lenient, and it's at their discretion. So what they've been doing is some people, if you give them a hard time, then they'll take it and write you a ticket, and they can write you a misdemeanor ticket. But generally they'll write you, just a citation. It's like a parking ticket, and sometimes if you're a nice person and they realize it, I've heard stories where they would just take it and throw it away, and send you on your way and tell you,
Well, I know you do a lot of those things here with the community with, you had like the lieutenant governor and the governors and you had the big guy here, didn't you?
Governor Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, Governor Wolf's been here. We've had congressmen, senators, state representatives. Right now, we're working on a thing. I just met with them on Wednesday. I met with Jake Wheatley, Representative Wheatley, and we're working on getting Representative Wheatley, Patty Kim, Representative Patty Kim, Representative Jordan Harris, and Representative Ed Gainey in here, and we're going to give them some glass blowing lessons and have a media campaign to, you know what I mean?
That'd be awesome.
Show them, just get some positive energy, and reduce the stigma. We're also doing a similar campaign with the police officers of Stilton. We have 4 police officers signed up now. They're going to come in and blow some glass and show that, you know what I mean? We're leveling out that stigma. They realize that it's a plant too, you know what I mean? And they
There's
realize
no reason to ruin somebody's life for it.
yeah, that the climate's changing, and it ain't, the funny thing is once the medical came in, and they could actually talk to these people, and they realize, wow, these guys can carry on an intelligent conversation. These people are actually high, standing here talking to me, and they're productive people.
Yep.
And how did I think all this time that somebody smokes cannabis and all of a sudden they quit bathing and quit their job, and you know what I mean?
Hey, that was the 70s. It was the hippies, 60s, 70s.
Yeah, it's a stereotype that people have to get by because that's the thing. It has been for a long time. If you smoke pot, you just automatically were thrown into a stereotype of like this type of person, and people are getting past that.
Yeah.
Especially as they learn that people actually can medicate themselves, and there's more and more examples of people that use it not for recreational, but for for all the other properties that it offers. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
And
it's happening
with these glass blowing
in our
things
lifetime.
too. I think that stuff like this could make national headlines, you know what I mean? And it could really change a lot of people's opinions on a large scale, you know? And
it changes. Like Pennsylvania, I honestly, we said it. I mean, I thought we were going to be one of the last states to do anything like this, just because it was just always such a
you guys are
Bible
all
bagging, and you know, this whole area is just people religious. You know, they don't want that change. They just don't want it. So it's good to see that you guys are bringing in people in. Like I said, it's cool when you look at the pictures and I see you hanging out with the governor, you know, and he's like, you're standing there kicking it. It's like, holy crap, dude.
Yeah,
so,
well, you know, we try to be the positive change, and, you know, we try to focus on the positive. There's a lot of people that have that opinion that you're never going to change it. I was at a council meeting the other day, and there was people in there saying, well, you know, there's so many bad people around here. There's so much negative, blah, blah, blah. And that's all they kept talking about. And I had to stand up and say, hey, you know what? Our focus is on the positive. If we sit around and worry about all the negative that surrounds us, we're never going to get anywhere. You know, it's only going to hold us back. So we got to keep our attention focused on the positive, and we're going to be the change. We're going to make the change. We're going to change people's opinions.
Good. That's awesome. What's we at? Where were we at? What kind? Oh. Okay, so here's one we started getting into last week, and we were just talking about evaluating glass and how we sell. We are asking, I think, Aaron, you know, you're asking about it, like, how do you value glass? So if somebody like me comes to you with my glass and I want to sell it to you, how do you reevaluate you selling your glass in your shop?
You know, it just depends on the artist, and every artist has a different sales scenario that, you know,
sometimes they tell you one price and then it's a different price.
Well, but what I'm saying is they, some artists, like, they dictate the price, like that they expect us to sell it at.
Yeah.
And so,
your selling price is what they want to dictate.
They want to tell us that, you know, and, you know, that wholesale type thing or whatever, you know, depending on the level of artist, they'll tell us that, you know, hey, you know, the shop shouldn't make whatever percentage. And, you know, I always say, you know, you should just tell us what you want, and then we can set the price at wherever, you know,
whatever you want to set it at.
Where we want to set it at. And
well, you said this last week with the Brian Bold with the marble, was like, you think he set those prices for those pieces,
and that's great. Like, but that's what he's saying. He should have that right.
Yeah,
he should be able to. Set the price.
If they say they want,
whether he wants to double it, sell it for more, or sell it for less than double.
If they say they want $50 for a piece, you'd be like, well, I want $200 for this piece. You know, you can. You know.
Well, they're telling me, like, some artists, I'm very serious. I'm just saying, if
they're telling you what to sell it for in the store.
Like, if, you know, here we're selling this for $100 to you, I'm just using this as simple numbers. You know, we expect you to sell this for $150 as a retail. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
To all those artists? You're really out of line. You do not dictate what a store sells your work for. You can be presumptive and egotistical to say that, but after somebody buys your work, it's up to them. Now, you can choose your relationships if you don't like that, and I respect that, but to even have the hubris to dictate the price that someone needs to sell your work for, you're really pushing it. There is only a sliver of elite artists that can actually pull that off or that warrant that distinction, and I think you'd be super presumptive to assume you're one of them. So yeah.
Do you try to do a huge markup? I mean, you just kind of do like
we you know, of course the standard is a keystone, you know, where you double the markup. But you know, sometimes there's, you know, you get certain pieces, you'll get it at a bargain. You know, somebody comes in with a great piece, so you know you're going to mark it up a little bit. But then what we tend to do is, you know, we always offer a different sale, and we shift it all the time. So we have to keep a little bit of a cushion so we can keep, you know, a lot of sales going. And
right, you got to, and you also have to move inventory, right? So at some point, you have to sell something to sell it to move it along the line.
We assume all. You know, whenever we buy pieces, especially from some of these artists, you know, and as well, you know, we know together that, you know, there's constant change in the market. So what's hot right now, maybe, you know, 6 months from now, maybe totally obsolete.
Yep.
And so, you know, we assume all risk, and, you know, when they sell us these pieces and, you know, dictate that price, but in the meantime, you know.
It's like buying a wholesale order of like a whole bunch of rigs with a male joint. You know, just like then you get stuck with those male. Just like at some point you're like, well, shit, I paid $50 a piece for these things. Nobody wants them because they're male joints, and it's like now.
Again, that's not even on the fault of the artist though. That's on the fault of like the way it changes the way people are smoking weed.
But I do have to say, not all artists are like that.
Oh no, by no means. I don't think any all artists are. I think
we have so many people that love us, and they bend over backwards and just throw stuff at us. Like we'll buy stuff and they'll just throw a bunch of extra stuff in.
I saw that picture earlier.
Yeah, you know, they're just Kevin's always trying
bending
stuff
over
in
backwards for you.
Well, that's one thing with you, and we can go about with how you. I mean,
time.
when I met you, I mean, you were just a really big collector of glass, you know, and then you started getting into it, and then now you have a shop, and it only makes sense because you had a huge collection of glass, and it's like you know your glass, you know these artists, you bought so much work from these artists just for your own personal collection, and then now you pretty much have your shop. What do you? I look around.
Do you think an artist wants to dictate why? Or again, how about this? Why do you think an artist wants to dictate that price to what? To what end? To what purpose? Are they saying you need to sell it for this price?
Just to get there.
Is it to maintain the value of their work or to?
I'm not sure. Sometimes, like, I'm torn between that. Like, I think it is, for keep the cost at a certain price, but with
or
their
is it also
ego,
a status level.
Yeah, status, and they feel that their value. They discredit us as a shop.
Right.
They think that we're not like. They discredit the work that we're putting in by creating a following, and it's not easy. It takes a lot of hard work, and then to get people and to sell them pieces regularly, and we have so much overhead. Having a big gallery like this, there's constantly a lot of overhead, and and the way we think too, with as much as we try to give back to the community, like we throw a lot of money back.
Yeah.
At our customers, at the community,
at the artists.
Yeah.
Or just the events you're throwing. I mean, you have some of these big events where you bring the artist in, you put them up, you feed them, and then you end up buying a bunch of their work from them.
Yeah, we try to do it over top. Once again, we're learning, and I think that the market's changing, and I think that pretty soon, especially like we talk about the economy and the way things are changing, I literally think, and this is just my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that, if you're a store that can create hypes and can sell products, that pretty soon you're going to have the upper hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then you become the destination point to be the outlet for work.
Yeah, and if they want to,
and that's what happened. And you've seen, there's been the rise and fall of so many shops though over the years. There's seems like there's artists, they're always going to be maintaining this high level, they're going to be making work, but it seems like shops cycle. There's this is the hot shop.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just say it's usually because when you're starting out, you're throwing money at that stuff like crazy, and you can maintain that for a certain amount of time, and then it's hard to maintain that. I mean, name one shop that's been just the best shop for over 6 years, for a 6 year run. Who's ever been the best shop for 6 years?
It always changes every year.
It always changes every 3 or 4 years. Again, we use that Mr. Smokes as an example. We were talking about them from Dorn. It's they came on the scene. They threw money at glass like crazy. They went to Champs. They bought everybody in the competition's piece.
Yeah.
They went to Champs. They bought out. It's they just could do that for a while, but then at some point you just cannot maintain that.
No,
so.
You can't. What's the name of that?
Yeah. Go
What's the name of the guy up? What's the name of those shops up in Detroit? And
that was Gus from Wild Bills.
Oh, Wild Bills. Yeah, they were pretty impressive.
But they're not the type of shop I'm talking about.
But they're also buying this cheap wholesale stuff as they wanted to get,
and they're willing to. They'll drop $30,000-$50,000 in a second.
That day when he came up to me, I kind of thought he was joking. Then he beat me up on the price like crazy. And I remember Victor sitting there talking to me, and he's like, "His money's real, man." He's just like, "You want to make some cash? He's got the cash."
Yeah.
And he said right off the bat, he was just like, "Well," I was like, "Well," he's like, "Well, I need these rigs, but I need to get them." I was like, "Dude, these are take me a while to make." I was like, "For $50." He's just like, "If you do them for $50, it's I'll buy 40 of them tomorrow." I'm like, All right.
And
It's
I've
hard to turn
never
it off.
seen you make a deal like with that with anyone ever. I've worked with you all the time. I've never seen you
I
make
knew
a
that I
deal
could make
like
them.
that.
What would I do? I went home and I cranked them out. And I made them in 3
yeah,
days.
it's like that's the thing. It's the carrot and the stick. It works. It works.
What
when you put money down to make it happen.
I don't want to do that all the time.
Of course not. Yeah.
Hey, but you know what I was most impressed about Gus was here. Chili was with us, and he said, "Oh, I remember you to Chili." He says, "I bought these pieces off of you 10 years ago, and and blah blah blah. And you were under your old business name." He pulled it up on his computer.
Yep.
He had every detail of that transaction, but he had remembered it from his mind, like specifically. And then he pulled it up on his computer, and it was all right there. That guy was sharp, though, and dealing with that much high a volume of sales, and to remember something like that from 10 years prior.
But their warehouse and their distribution center was just out of control. I mean, everything was just this piece. They had 1,000 of this piece. That's A. This piece, they have 1,000. That's B. And it's like, oh, we need 50 A's. We need 50 B's. And like they all went out to all the different shops, and it's like they weren't buying like the heady pieces. They were just trying to fill. They had 120 stores or something like that. So it was pretty wild.
I've definitely a positive feeling about that, about Gus and his business and everything, but there's also a little bit of a lack of heart, and also it was a borderline.
You told us that. He said he's like nothing to do
you
with.
saw I talked back to him about it too. I held my line.
He's like, hey, this has nothing
didn't buy
to do.
anything for
He's
me
like,
that day.
He's like, I
That's
like
for
you.
sure.
He's like, I like you guys, but he's just like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. The numbers aren't there. They don't work.
It was that classic leverage thing, though. You know what I'm saying? He had the upper hand. He had so many stores. They had 100 and
they were at 120 or something like that. But I think since we told them last, I bet they added 20, 30 stores. I mean, they're adding them like as quick as they can add them.
Yeah, I mean, but
there's always a place for that.
They had the leverage, though, and they had the loot to buy, and so they could.
That was one of those things where I said, like we talked about, I said about the male joints. I remember us walking through and he had all those little nails, those titanium nails and stuff. He's like, nobody's buying these damn things anymore. He's like, hey, you guys want these? $1 a piece. You can have as many as you want. And it was just like, he was just trying. He's like, nobody wants that stuff. And that's what I say when you have a shop and you buy a certain product that you have to like invest a bunch of money in to get a good deal on it. And then if it's a fad, if it's a fad, then what do you do with it afterwards? Then you got to come up with a way to get rid of it cleverly, try to come up with some way to sell it. So, what, you guys have stuff like that now, like that you just doesn't move, and what are you going to do with it?
We don't have a lot of stuff that doesn't move. Like we have some, more expensive pieces that haven't moved yet, and it's, I credit it to not having the following yet.
Well,
but
sometimes those big
fast.
expensive pieces are nice because they're out of most people's range. But people come into the store, that's what they want to see.
Yeah, they're excited to see like a high quality piece.
Yeah, they want to see it, and
I'm looking around now and I see you guys have a bunch of marbles. You guys have you've been selling marbles?
We sell some.
Yeah.
We've sold a ton, and those we did mostly online sales. We did really well with Stephen Bamey. He has a huge following, so his work is always highly collectible.
So back to you have the shop and you're doing all these things we said at the beginning where you're doing the yoga, and I know you said something about you have the doctor come into the shop to actually register people for
the Canna Care docs sublease space from us, and so Mondays and Thursdays they have they're in here registering patients. People come in and get all signed up through the state, and then every other Saturday they have a doctor come in and he evaluates and approves patients to get their medical card, and they make the process. It's really phenomenal how they refined what they do,
it's
because
quick and painless. I mean, I got my medical card here. And like I said, it was just like 15 minutes, It didn't take him long. I mean, it's 15 minutes of filling out some paperwork is what I'm getting at. Then they take you back. They do all your little physical examinations. He asks you some questions and gets you on board. Then they have all their... the ladies like signing everything up. Yeah, and they get you going. And it didn't take long. Within 4 days, I think I had my license.
Yeah, and they're very thorough, and they're very they have so much attention to detail and we wouldn't want anybody else, that did anything that broke any rules. You know what I mean? Me, I'm so strict about
straight and narrow.
I've always been straight edge. I'm the person don't even smoke, or anything. You know that.
No doubt.
As long as you've known me.
As long as I've known you.
So this type of thing, I don't want to cut any corners.
I'm surprised you're even drinking with us now.
This is a watered down mostly.
Oh no, you had a couple down. Yeah, you never drink though. I never see you drinking.
I never drink.
It's actually one of the only nights I've ever seen you drink. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
And it's actually been, you've had 2.5 drinks. So.
Yeah.
in Puerto Vallarta. I remember you drank a little bit of tequila.
Yeah, I mean, I like a
Do you
tequila.
have any, do you have any
I'm a
of that
sipper.
Liquid Men?
Liquid Men. No, he.
How'd that taste?
Yeah, that was Kevin used up all of that. He was down there every day. I will say that.
Hey man, they had good clothes.
Hey, I know one thing. Kevin still has quite a following
In Puerto Vallarta.
in Puerto Vallarta. Oh yeah.
Well, he's been learning Spanish. Did you know that?
I'm trying.
He had a photo shoot taken down there, and I just seen part of it today.
I got the real photos in my phone.
Do you ever think it's wild, Sean, that you got into this as a glass collector? Now you have a shop, and it just seems like what a huge amount of your time goes towards the medicine side of this now.
Oh, yeah.
And what a almost like an activist. I think that's kind of mind blowing to me. When I first met you, which was not that long ago, maybe 8 years ago now, when our buddy introduced us.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, you were a collector. You just loved what everybody was doing. We're just enthusiastic, supportive, all the wonderful things about a person that just loved glass and what was going on.
Yeah,
And
that's
here
why
you
I met
are-
AGI.
And here you are now, and you're you're talking to the governor about the movement and the value of what this is. I mean, it's mind blowing.
And the cool thing about it is, once again, I'm not a person that
And you don't
uses
smoke.
cannabis
Yeah, you
or
don't even-
anything.
yeah, totally.
And I talk from a professional level, an
of course.
educated level, and I talk to these police, and that's what I mean. We're trying to eliminate this stigma, and get rid of all these negatives against cannabis. It's medicine. It's a plant. Once again, I think it's ridiculous that you have a seed, you have a plant that is from nature, but they make it illegal because it heals people.
What about cocaine?
Cocaine is a process.
It's a hell of a drug.
Cocaine is a process,
Yeah, it's too easy.
thing. I mean, they have to make it into their paste and then crystallize it.
Oh, it should still be legal, though.
But the cocoa leaves, why not?
Yeah, why not?
What about
Yeah,
Integrity Farms?
Integrity Farm. Well, I mean, there's if you can sell
Did you watch
if you can
South
sell
Park?
no-dos,
No.
you should be able to sell cocaine. If you can sell any type of thing that keeps you awake.
I'm a person that don't even eat aspirin, so
I'm with you on that.
yeah.
I don't do hardly anything.
Yeah, no way.
The doctors, I went to the doctor the other day, and he was trying to be like, well, maybe you could take this. I was like, dude, I'm not taking any pills. I don't want anything to try to put me on anything. I barely take Tylenol. Very, very, very rarely I might pop one if I'm splitting headache and can't get past it.
The worst, the two worst drugs that I abuse, and this is the honest to God truth, is sugar and coffee.
Sugar is the most abusive drug out there, I think, for almost most people.
Yeah, most people don't think of it as a drug, but it is so highly addictive.
It's in everything.
For sure,
it's in
yeah.
everything that we have in this.
Yep.
Everything in America, at least. I mean, everything's processed. Everything's pumped full of it. You can't eat salad dressing. You can't eat anything. It's all full of sugar.
Yeah.
No, as soon as you eat it, it puts you in this crazy rage. Look at kids, you know what I mean? You give them a little bit of sugar, and they're just out of control.
Yeah, it's fucked up. What were we gonna say?
More on this.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the Boro news just for you. If you had any opinion on it, we've been talking about it a lot. And Josh, I think you had something.
I do have something to say. I'm gonna make a drink real quick.
All right. Yeah. Well, while you make a drink, we'll do his giveaway real quick.
Talk about
So,
Hey, I got one other thing too. Should I grab that?
no. Right now, let's see here. So,
I have one other thing to give away.
what is it?
See the T-shirt over there that we have?
We'll have Josh grab it for us. Josh, grab that T-shirt back here quick.
Oh, the Vincent Price one?
Yeah. So we always do our giveaway each week. This week, Sean is gonna generously give away a few things. We got this Mason grinder, which is made. Was it Jim that made it, or he has it made?
Yeah, he had them designed.
So Taipan Jim, one of our old school sponsors for our show. This is basically a grinder top that fits on any standard mason jar, and basically it just turns your mason jar into a grinder, right?
Yeah,
And
just
they're
put it on there.
pretty badass, like pretty cool invention. I mean, it's just so simple for most people because not everybody has a grinder, but everybody has mason jars around their house. So you pick these up. How are they expensive? How much do these things cost?
I think those sell retail for $20.
They're $20, something like that. But I mean, then the cool thing is, so does this, when you grind it, does it fall straight down in?
Yeah,
So
straight
it falls
down
right
in.
down into the jar. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you can take it off and put the cap on, and
So
it
he's
keeps
got
it
one
nice
of
and
those.
fresh.
He's gonna do. It's gonna be a little gift bag package. So we'll come up with the giveaway on our event or on the Instagram page. I don't D's nuts. So it's D's nuts.
D's
Pan
nuts.
scale. So
Got
this is
'em.
Just a little scale that you can use to weigh out your glass.
Yeah,
your
that's
Fritz and powders.
Yeah, totally. If you're ever weighing Fritz or
Yeah,
powders,
you're weighing Fritz and powders. He's got this sweet T-shirt, which is by.
put your nuts on
Rocco.
that scale.
It's a Rocco Beloso.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Oh, man,
Rocco
Coexist
drew that
t-shirt.
image and then
And then
put 'em
what?
in. We had him in.
And then on top of that, then he's throwing in a Karsten Carlisle pendant.
Yeah, it's a very sweet pendant.
So
I have
it's
to
a
admit.
sweet
This
little
is-
pendant. So this
I'd
is a
wear
nice
th-
little
I'd
package
wear
deal.
this.
Yeah, this
Simple,
is definitely
nice,
over $100 package that they're throwing in.
Fucking
Easy.
A, Carson Carlisle. You can't
Yeah.
put a price on that.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Kevin just did, though.
Well, I don't know what these things sell for, but I know these things here is 40, 60. So it's a nice little package deal. We'll come up with a giveaway on the Instagram page,
Yep,
right?
we'll be announcing the giveaway.
Yeah, you'll come up with something for it.
I'm gonna come up with something.
And then, basically just be plugging and, following Coexist and all that kind of stuff. But
But
that's awesome.
But just in case, Sean, what was the name of your first pet
My first pet.
when you were a kid? Whatever first pet, whether it's a fish, a lizard, I don't care. What is your first pet's name?
My first pet.
Do you have a pet?
Do you ever not? You never had a pet your whole life?
Never had a pet.
Oh no way! Oh man, I didn't
That's
mean
crazy.
to bring up. But yeah.
What's your
wow.
favorite bonsai tree?
My
No.
favorite bonsai tree.
Yeah.
Oh, I have many.
What's your favorite name of one? Style.
Shimpaku
No.
style.
You, do,
Wind
you,
blown?
don't, you don't know how this works. That's why I was like, what's your first best friend in school's name? Please say you had a friend. This is gonna be the saddest episode ever.
Yeah, I still don't have any friends.
What was your first car?
Wasn't
My first
what's the
car.
street the street you lived on? The first street you ever remember living on? The address of the first street.
Oh, Route 38.
My God, you guys.
I love it.
How about your county? Butler County? Can we just say Butler County?
Butler County.
All right, Butler County. You know what we're talking about. It might come up.
Oneida Valley Road.
Oh my! What?
Oneida Valley Road.
Did you ever live on a street that had a name? How about that instead of a route? What was that?
Oneida Valley Road.
Man, that's rough.
That's a tough one, too.
Yeah, he's just trying to come up with
Trying to come up with a nice little
password that somebody could
for
put
the
in.
contest, like a single word name
Yeah.
thing.
A single word.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I would be like, "Oh, say this in the comments," and then
The Sheik.
the Sheik, yeah, the Sheik.
All right, there you go.
The Sheik.
That'll be the
Sheik.
The
The
pass.
Sheik,
The,
all
the
right.
password is
Damn.
Sheik.
Chic.
So
I'm buying you a goldfish though.
Well, sweet though. Yeah, you definitely need, or maybe a pet rock. How about that?
Yeah, or a friend.
We'll
I'm gonna get you a
pet
friend.
I can't believe you never had a pet. That's kind of nuts.
That is nuts.
That's a
yeah,
weird story.
Totally.
Never had
What'd you
any
call it?
pet.
What-
You
what'd
never
you-
had.
You got a nickname for your right hand?
Yeah. I call it Kevin.
So, well, anyway,
Oh, my
hey, he's
goodness.
got a sweet gift bag here. We'll
Yeah,
we'll
this
put
is a
together.
great prize. Thank you,
Really nice
Sean.
prize.
This is really cool. I mean, that pendant alone and very practical use scale, and I think the mason grinder is pretty cool. And
What,
shout out to one of our original supporters.
So go back.
Jim.
Go back. Oh yeah, go back to Boro News.
Okay, I just want to, we've had a big talk about. Did you have anything to say about the Boro News? Did he catch?
No, I
what was-
mean,
did you have a take on it, like
my take is like, I mean,
positive
it's just,
or negative?
I think it's somebody just trying to play fun with a
Yeah,
lot of
well,
people
right.
in the
Yeah,
industry,
okay,
but
then good,
some
yeah.
people
Well,
take it
Give him your
personal
thing.
and-
What did he said? Did you think it's?
Yeah, I've always like, is it comedic roast or toxic?
I think it's more. It's trying to be a comedic roast,
Exactly,
and
yeah.
and in my opinion, but some people take some of it personally.
Right.
But I think that there has been a couple people that was more
Some of them were meaner than
directed.
others.
Yeah, directed. But
I still think how anybody could have taken it anyway, right? Like if it
for
was
the most
mean,
part.
if one of those mean ones had just been like totally ignored or diffused, it probably wouldn't seem as mean. but the comments made it seem way more mean. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but I think that, I think it's like anything that, like back in school, you know what I mean? If you react, you know what I mean? It's
totally. Then everybody knows.
It's going to be, you're going to
totally.
be the target.
What did you
So
say?
I guess what I wanted to say is that I did come out pretty, I mean, and again, I'm not apologizing to Dan Brazilian, not in the slightest, but I will say that last week we came out pretty hard about like the idea that Dan, and I did a little bit of research after talking to somebody, and the reality is it takes like just, it could be just one person to report you to get you kicked off Instagram, but if you got 25 to 50 people to everyone like report, which you just hit up in the top left corner of your screen, you hit the thing, it's like report this post. If you got 25, 50 people to report a post, you're going to get taken down. I have, just with my amount of followers, I could get, if I had to, I could get 20 to 50 people to all, hey, report this post and get somebody taken down. So
yeah, just a quick dick pic.
So if you have, so again, to like take the pressure off of like, yeah, the Dan Brazilian, whatever his name is, was the last one to come out. But it could have been any one of those other people that came before to say, hey, why don't we just report this guy and we'll get his account taken down. So, I mean, I know I wanted to be like kind of taking a dump on Dan and even the stuff that happened at the Westgate. I still stand by what I said way right at the beginning. I was like, there's no way that Dan Brazilian is staying at the Westgate. That guy's gonna stay at the Cosmopolitan or at the Bellagio, or he's not gonna be at that hotel. It's probably unlikely that he even had anything to do with that stuff at the Westgate. He was there at the show, but anyway, I just want to put that out there because I kind of just I stand by what I say and the accountability of it all. And it would have been just as easy for someone else to have that site taken down with just the slightest reach out to their following and be like, hey, let's shut this account down. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to say about it.
You drink?
Get water.
Get a water? I'm going to get him something out of there.
But anyway, that's all I wanted to say about it because it was, yeah.
How about this? What do you...
I got water right here.
Oh, you got one? Oh, never mind, Red. We got it.
Was that were you talking about the plans for Melt?
Yeah, I was going to see what...
Full circle brings us back to Brandon Dorn's question. So Brandon, I don't only think we ignored you earlier, but we actually had a plan to talk about the plans for Melt this upcoming year. Anything that you've got coming, Sean, that you're like, oh, I want to add this year? Or?
I'm not sure yet.
You're not gonna divulge anything?
I always got something in the works, but I don't have anything pinned down yet. But
got the fireworks planned out?
Oh yeah, fireworks are always standard.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the artist list this year because I'm going to just make this list of artists, and I'm only bringing you guys the best people that are good, honest, awesome people.
So we're trying to bring people back from
I'm
years.
going back through the 5 years. I'm re-inviting artists that I know that are the best people to work with, and then I also have a sweet lineup. I'm not going to announce it right now because it's too early. I'll announce the lineup sometime in January.
And we said January 1st.
Yeah, we'll be close to January 1st and close to Las Vegas, somewhere in between, I think. But I've got one mega star artist lined up, and I'm in talks with another one. And
the tickets are going to go on sale.
Tickets are going to be going
January
on sale
1st.
January 1st for Melt this year. You're going to have that first month of January to put your deposit down and secure a $100 discount off your ticket. And you really help us out when you put those deposits in early because we've got to pay for stuff, in advance of Melt. And so we've got that coming up, and then like Sean said, he's going to have something up his sleeve for something new this year. I think pretty much he was talking about putting a bottle of Eagle Rare in everybody's goodie bag. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll just cross our fingers.
All I can say is you're pretty much nuts if you don't come to Melt.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're going to put you on this scale. These nuts.
These nuts.
But anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, anything else you got?
No, I mean, you guys run a great show. So
right.
happy to have you guys come in the gallery and
Yeah, it's cool. We get I think you can you take some photos and stuff like that.
Yeah, we did. I did some little shots of this. These guys have a great shop. Some beautiful glass in here. They've got this incredible working studio going on.
Plus, they bought the house next door,
and
they're building another glass blowing studio.
They're putting events on here. I mean, if you ever coming across the country and you're a glass blower, if you don't make a stop here, you're doing a disservice to yourself. These guys are going to want you to stop here and talk to you and see what you've got.
Yeah,
and
we'll feed you.
Yeah, they'll feed you and entertain you, and so we give a go and be sure that you're following Coexist Gallery.
And we
show
do the
them some
giveaway.
love and
We'll
support. We'll be having this giveaway. And this was great to have you on, Sean.
Yeah,
Thank you.
All right, and then on top of that, like I said, we'll do a little shout out real quick for the mailbag. Just make sure you get those questions. Keep coming. Mailbag at Breaking Glass.
Where's the original graphic on this page?
Website breakingglass.show. Instagram breaking_glass_podcast.
I thought it was mail sack.
Facebook
at Breaking Glass.
So until next time, thanks and cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.